Hello and welcome to this video. Today, we will study the poem Ariel by Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath wrote this poem in October 1962. It is one of her most famous works. The title of the poem, Ariel, has many meanings. The first meaning is connected to her horse. Sylvia Plath used to ride a horse named Ariel. She often rode it early in the morning, before sunrise. The second meaning comes from the Bible. In the Bible, Ariel is another name for the city of Jerusalem. The third meaning comes from Shakespeare's play The Tempest. In that play, Ariel is a spirit, a magical being of the air. Sylvia Plath combines all these meanings to write a powerful poem. The poem is about speed, control, freedom, fear, and death. This video covers the summary, explanation, and analysis of Ariel by Sylvia Plath. Let us start with the summary of the poem. Summary of Ariel by Sylvia Plath. The poem begins in stillness and darkness. Then the horse moves, and she moves with it. Slowly she becomes one with the horse. She loses control of herself. She becomes pure speed and energy. She remembers pain, society, motherhood, and rules. But she leaves them behind. She transforms into Lady Godiva, into an arrow, into dew. At the end, she dissolves into the rising sun. Let us now study the poem line by line. Explanation of Ariel by Sylvia Plath. The word stasis means stillness or no movement. It describes a condition where nothing changes. Darkness means there is no light. Sylvia Plath begins by saying that at the start, there is stillness in the dark. She is describing the moment before the horse begins to move. It is very early in the morning. There is no light yet. She feels silence and stillness all around her. But the word also has a deeper meaning. It suggests the stillness of life before movement, or even the stillness of death. Then, the horse started to move. The darkness breaks. The sky begins to change. Substanceless blue means a blue sky that looks empty and without shape. Tor means a high rocky hill. Pour of Tor and distances means the hills and the faraway distances seem to pour past her as she rides the horse. She feels the speed as the world moves quickly around her. She is leaving the stillness of darkness and entering motion and space. Now Sylvia Plath compares herself to a lioness. The words, God's lioness, suggest that she feels chosen, strong, and holy in her power. The horse and Sylvia Plath become one. She says, how one we grow. This means that rider and horse are no longer separate as their movement and spirit are joined. She feels herself transformed into something wild, fast, and powerful. Then Sylvia Plath describes how she holds onto the horse. She uses her heels and knees to stay balanced. The word pivot means turning or centering. She feels the physical force of riding. The body and the horse's body are one unit. The movement is intense and powerful. A furrow is a groove or a line made in the ground by a plow. As the horse runs across the field, it crosses furrows in the earth. These lines split and pass by quickly. She calls the furrow a sister to the horse's neck. The horse's brown neck arches forward in movement, but Sylvia Plath cannot catch it. She feels the horse's power in front of her. She cannot control it completely. The horse moves with its own strength. This is a difficult and shocking image. Sylvia Plath describes blackberries in the hedges by the path. She uses a racial word that is offensive today. She uses it to describe the dark, round shape of the berries. They look like eyes. She says they cast dark hooks. This means they seem to grab or hook her as she passes. It is a frightening image, as if nature itself is pulling her. Sylvia Plath continues the berry image. She imagines them as black and sweet, full of juice, like blood. When crushed, they bleed a dark liquid. They are described as mouthfuls, suggesting both sweetness and violence. Then she calls them shadows. The shadows create an atmosphere of mystery, danger, and darkness. At this moment, Sylvia Plath feels that the ride is no longer under her control. She says something else carries her. It is as if she is no longer just riding the horse. A greater force is pulling her through the air. It may be speed, it may be fate, it may even be death. The ride becomes supernatural. Here Sylvia Plath describes how her body feels during the ride. Her thighs grip the horse. Her hair blows wildly in the wind. Her heels scrape, leaving flakes of skin. She becomes part of the movement, almost as if her body is breaking apart. This is a very important reference. Lady Godiva was a woman in English history. She rode naked on a horse through the city to protest unfair taxes. Sylvia Plath compares herself to Lady Godiva. She says she is like White Godiva because she feels exposed and bare. She is shedding layers, unpeeling herself. This suggests freedom but also vulnerability. She is leaving behind the old self. Now Sylvia Plath describes what she is leaving behind. Dead hands suggests control from other people, perhaps from her husband or from society. Stringencies means strict rules or severe demands. She says they are dead now and have no power over her. The horse ride frees her from these burdens. She now becomes pure movement. Foam to wheat describes the golden wheat fields she rides through. They shine like the foam of the sea. She feels she is dissolving into nature. She is no longer just a woman on a horse but a part of the landscape. Here she remembers her children. The child's cry could be the sound of her own baby. But she says it melts in the wall. That means the sound disappears. She is no longer tied to motherhood. She is moving away from the role of mother. This is one of the most famous images in the poem. Sylvia Plath says she is the arrow. An arrow is sharp, fast, and unstoppable. It has one direction. It flies toward its target. She feels she has become pure energy, pure speed. She is no longer human but a weapon, a force of destiny. These are the last lines of the poem. They are very powerful. Dew is the wet drops that form on grass in the early morning. She says she is like dew that flies away and disappears as the sun rises. The word is suicidal is very important. It shows that she connects her freedom with death. She becomes one with the drive, the unstoppable force of life and death. She rides into the red eye, which is the rising sun. The cauldron of morning means the hot, boiling circle of the sun. It is both beautiful and deadly. She rides into it with complete surrender. Analysis of Ariel by Sylvia Plath. This poem shows the conflict between life and death, control and freedom, body and spirit. It shows Sylvia Plath's desire to escape from limits, from society, and even from her own body. The horse ride is not only a real experience but also a symbol of transformation. She rides from darkness into light, from self into nothingness, from life into death. The poem uses many literary devices. It uses metaphor, which is when one thing is compared to another without using like or as. For example, she says, "I am the arrow." This is a metaphor. She is not really an arrow, but she feels like one. The poem uses imagery, which means words that create pictures in the minds of readers. We see darkness, berries, wheat, and the sun. The poem also uses symbolism. Symbols are objects used to represent ideas. The horse symbolizes power and freedom. The arrow symbolizes speed and death. The rising sun symbolizes both life and destruction. Sylvia Plath's style is confessional poetry. Confessional poetry means poetry that speaks very personally. It talks about private feelings, suffering, and inner struggles. In Ariel, Sylvia Plath speaks about her own fears, desires, and thoughts of death. Thank you for watching this video on the summary, explanation, and analysis of Ariel by Sylvia Plath.